About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free with Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free.
Good morning, everyone. It's Jim here at TutorQ, and a warm welcome to our 27th live A-level economics revision blast. I'm joined today by Holly, who's in the middle, and my twin brother, Geoff, who's on the right. And, 27. What a fantastic series it's been. And this week we've got inflation and unemployment today, and tomorrow we've got balance of payments. So a couple of sort of more specific topic areas to look at. And if you're joining us live on either YouTube or Facebook, you get a chance to use the comments in Facebook or the live chat in YouTube to respond to the various activities that Holly and Geoff are going to guide us through. And of course, you're therefore under a little bit of time pressure. This session lasts about 35 minutes or so. If you're joining us on catch up or replay, you get a chance, if you wish, to pause the video and maybe give yourself a bit more time to work through these activities. Hopefully you enjoy it. Geoff, do you just want to give us a quick flavour for what we're going to cover, and then we'll crack on with the first activity?
Okay, yeah, thanks, Jim. We've got a couple of big topics here: inflation, unemployment, and obviously key core topics for students as you're revising for your assignments. Good luck with those, by the way. Many of them are starting pretty soon, I think, this summer. We've got bubble quizzes, multiple choice questions, 60-second challenges, the full range of grade activities. It's fantastic if people put their answers in chat. Always helps us on the presenting side. So I think let's make a start. Holly, I think you're going to go kick us off with a 60-second challenge.
Fantastic, thank you very much. So we've got our 60-second challenge to kick us off today. So what I need you to do is to match the key term with its definition. So if you think priceability is defined as, say, kind of a combination of slower growth and rising inflation, write A3 in the chat box. I'll be generous, I'm not going to give you 60 seconds, I will give you 1 minute. On your marks, get set, go. So have a little bit of think. What do you think, Matt? What are our definitions for this morning? Okay, so don't be nervous, do just have a guess, have a bit of a go, pop your answers in the chat. Okay, so we've come to the end of our 60-second challenge and we're getting a few answers in the chat. As Geoff said earlier, it's super useful, both for kind of us and for you to make sure you're participating as much as possible. So we've got loads of answers kind of coming in now. So can we have our answers, please, Jim? So we've got price stability. I think a couple of you got this, being defined as when kind of got with low positive inflation rate between 1% and 3%. Good to know that inflation for March is actually 0.7%. So we're not actually at that price stability that we kind of want to be at as part of our macroeconomic targets. We've got stagflation, a combination of slow growth and rising inflation. Absolute nightmare for economists there. We've got economically active. So we've got those aged 25 or over who are either in employment or unemployment. Human capital, so a measure of individual skills, knowledge, abilities, social attributes, personalities, and kind of other types of attributes. So we've got our human capital. And last definition is a tight labour market. So it's kind of when demand for labour is really high and there are shortages of labour. Probably not something we're going to experience in the UK, at least for the next couple of years. So well done, everyone, if you kind of got those answers right. But otherwise, over to Geoff for some multiple choice questions.
Okay, lovely. Thanks, Holly. I've got 6 multiple choice questions for you. And as always, it's absolutely fantastic if you can post your third answer, hopefully the correct answer, in the chat window. So here we go. Here are 6 multiple choice questions. First one, the labour force participation rate is the number of what? And again, the options there, A, B, C, and D. This is a definition question. What do we think the labour force participation rate is a measure of? Is it people actively seeking work and those who are working? Is it people in the labour force as compared to the total population? Is it just people of working age, or is it people workers in the labour force compared to the number of people in the working population? What do we think? Are the answers coming through? We've got 1 or 2 answers coming through into the chat window already. Let's check the answer, please, Jim. And the answer is D, the labour force participation ratio. It's one of those, and well done to Will, they've got the answer right there. Superb answer. One of those key definitions, particularly, by the way, if you're studying economic development, increasing the labour force participation rate is one of those key metrics we used to see if policies, maybe supply side policies, are getting more people actively in the labour market. Interestingly, in the UK, the female participation rate is over 75, nearly 80%, which is relatively high compared to other countries. Let's have a go at question number 2. Here it comes up on the screen for you. Which of the following is not a likely economic consequence of unemployment? So essentially in this question, we're looking for one of the odd answers out. 3 of these are likely economic consequences of high unemployment. 1 is not. So what do we reckon for question 2? Robbie has gone for B. Phoebe's gone for B as well. 4 answers there. Consequences of unemployment. Rebecca's gone for B. Let's check the answer, please, Jim. Indeed, the answer is B. Questions which refers to sort of potentially competing economic objectives. Higher unemployment is likely to dampen aggregate demand, especially via falling consumer spending and maybe planned investment. Of course, that will then lead to weaker demand pull and cost push inflationary pressures. Well done on that one. Leah got the answer right, so did Gerard and Ronald. Let's take a look at question number 3. Like this question, which type of unemployment occurs if a tyre manufacturing maintenance firm closes because of a recession? Which type of unemployment exists if a tyre manufacturing maintenance firm closes due to recession? Now, tread carefully here. This is an important question. What do we think for this one? The answer's coming through. Rebecca's gone for C. Mina's gone for C as well. One or two answers coming through. Nikki's gone for C. We've all gone for C. Let's check the answer, Jim. It is indeed cyclical unemployment, also known as Keynesian unemployment. Some of you are already on 3 out of 3. This is fantastic stuff. Let's move on quickly to number 4. Weights are used to calculate the index of consumer prices in the UK, of course. Now, what are the weights used to reflect? Key question on the calculation of the consumer price index. What's the answer here? A, B, C, or D? Why do we use weights in the index of consumer prices, and what's the basis for their calculation? Take a moment, please, to think about the answer to question 4. Don't forget, the consumer price index is a weighted index, and some answers are coming through. The majority of people seem to be going for A here. Let's check our answer on the screen, please, Jim. It is indeed A. Consumer price index, of course, is a weighted price index, and the weights are meant to reflect the relative importance of the goods and services that we buy, that we spend money on, as measured by the share of total consumer spending of the average household. Question number 5 is on its way. One of the consequences of inflation is that it causes what? This is a nice question, a really good question about the consequences, the impact of inflation. So what do we reckon for question 5? All of these, by the way, are past exam questions. Great chance to test your understanding of key topics. Consequences of inflation, answers coming through. Mina's gone for D, Rebecca's gone for D. Let's check our answer, please, Jim. It's coming up now. Indeed, it is D. Inflation often, not always, but often benefits debtors at the expense of creditors, especially if the nominal interest rate on debt is lower than the inflation rate, meaning that the real interest rate on debt becomes negative. Wow, this is good stuff. Let's finish off with one more multiple choice question. Deflation is best described as what? Of those answers there, A, B, C, and D, what's the best definition there of deflation? We'll pick up here a common error in exams based on what the answers come through as. Gerard's gone for D, Nikki's gone for D, Ronald's gone for D. I'm pleased that nobody so far has gone for A, so let's double check our answers. And here it comes. Yeah, deflation is a sustained and general decrease in the price level over time. A lot of people actually in the exam would choose A. Of course, that's called disinflation. Prices still rising, but at a weaker, slower pace. So that's the best definition of deflation is D, a sustained and general decrease in the general price level over time. Fantastic scores on the multiple choice. Holly, over to you for the next activity.
Fantastic, thank you very much. So what we're looking at here is which of these 9 factors will determine the natural rate of unemployment. Do you think it's an increase in interest rates, level of skills and education, the degree of labour mobility, so this could be geographical or kind of occupational mobility of labour, flexibility of the labour market, availability of job information, the strength of an economy's currency, hysteresis, the size of the population, or the level of benefits. So kind of universal credit, JSA, all of those type of things. So pop your answers in the chat. Don't bother kind of typing out all of it, but if you think, say, the answer is the flexibility of the labour market, then pop B1 in the chat. So have a go. So which one of these 9 factors do we think will determine the natural rate of unemployment? So have a go, pop your answers in the chat one at a time. As Tutor to You says, is absolutely fine. So the natural rate of unemployment, a really kind of important topic, but also one that kind of students typically find really, really tough. So remember, it's kind of this equilibrium rate of unemployment where real wages have found their free market level. So kind of the total supply of labor equals kind of the total demand for labor as well. I've got some answers coming through here. So B2 from Leah, thinking kind of flex availability of job information, super important. Got A2 as well. So level of skills and education, important as well. B1, so that'd be an increase in interest. Oh, sorry, no, that'd be flexibility of the labour market. We'll give it a few more seconds just to see what else do we think will determine the natural rate of unemployment. Lots coming through from Ronald. Got kind of A2, B1, C3. Do we agree? Do we disagree? So we'll give it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Can we have our answers here, Jim? Fantastic. So loads of you getting all of these answers right. So our policies to reduce or kind of alter or deter our natural rate of unemployment, they're thinking about kind of the efficiency of our labour market, maybe kind of making labour markets, thinking about the competitiveness and the flexibility that we can see in our labour markets. Again, our natural rate of unemployment, there is no involuntary unemployment. There's only voluntary unemployment when we're at this natural rate of unemployment. So you've got skill, education, labour mobility, flexibility, available job information, history, some level of benefits, all affect kind of our voluntary unemployment. A quick note about hysteresis. So this is kind of one of those technical terms. It's great to use in maybe your essays, not just in kind of multiple choice, but this is also known as economic scarring. We've got this sustained period of low aggregate demand leading to a really kind of permanent damage of the supply side of the economy. So if we've got lots of unemployment, then maybe we can see kind of this actual de-skilling of the workforce over time. So again, a really kind of key determinant of the natural rate of unemployment. Fab, on to Geoff for my favourite activity of all, which is the bubble quiz.
Okay, thanks, Holly. Yeah, well, thank you for giving me the bubble quiz, because it's also one of my favourite quiz questions. We're going to give you a question, a statement, and 4 answers. They will appear in the 4 bubbles. And as always, those people who are regulars will know that you have to decide which of the statements are correct. So let's take a look at our first bubble. Question number 1, which of the following is a problem when measuring unemployment? Important issue this, the extent to which we're measuring unemployment accurately in the labour market, key policy to have good data. So which of the following is a problem when measuring unemployment? Is A right? B, C, D, are they all right? Are none of them right? Pick out the letters that you think are the correct answers to this question and then post them in the chat window if you're live with us. If you're on the replay, if you're on the recording of this, take a moment to press that pause button and give yourself a little thinking time, and then which letters do you think are correct? A, B, C, and D. Okay, the answers are coming through now. J has gone for all of them. Rebecca has gone for all of them, as she thinks that all of them are relevant here. Well, let's have a look at the answer. The answer coming through now. And in fact, we think that the first 3 are problems in measuring unemployment. Hidden unemployment is a major issue, people who are not picked up by the data. B is really good. You know, the disparities at regional, ethnic, gender, age unemployment. Once you dig beneath the surface of the national unemployment rate, you get some key data to look at there. It ignores underemployment, people who maybe have a part-time job but who want to work full-time, or people who have essentially working just a few hours and struggling to earn enough money. We don't think D is right. It ignores those above retirement age who still want to work. I mean, technically those people, let's say people who are 68, 69, if they're above retirement age, even if they still want to work, they're not categorized as economically active and therefore won't be technically measured as unemployed. So D is incorrect. Let's try another quiz. Which of these people, love this question by the way, which of the people, A, B, C, D, or all of them, or a few of them, would be regarded as a member of the labour force? Love this type of question. 4 little scenarios here, 4 people in different situations. Which of them would be regarded as members of the labour force? Is it a 47-year-old looking after their elderly parents full-time? 21-year-old who's seeking work after graduating from uni? It is a 17-year-old who's working in the supermarket 15 hours per week, well as taking a course at college. And is it a 54-year-old who is a part-time teacher? What do we think on this one? Ronald's gone for B, C, and D. Rebecca's gone for A, B, and D. And I think Jay's gone for B, C, D. Amina's gone for A, B, D. So a little difference of opinion here. Let's check on the answer, please. Jim's coming up now. The correct answer is B, C, and D. So 47-year-old who's looking after their elderly parents full-time is categorized as economically inactive. And this is a really key issue in economics. There are something like 8.5, 9 million people of working age who are economically inactive, and this would be an example. All of the other three are economically active and therefore members of the labour force. And I think we have one more bubble question to go. Again, this is a great question that tests your understanding. Which of the following is a cost of inflation? Which of the following is a cost of inflation? Here are the options. A decrease in international competitiveness. B, an erosion of savings. C, the loss of purchasing power. And D, economic uncertainty. What do we think on this one? If a country is experiencing an acceleration in inflation, what do we think the answer is here? Answers flowing in. Tharm is very confident, says all of them. Charlotte says all of them as well. Let's give yourselves a few more seconds to have a think about this. Again, if you're on the replay, take a moment, press the pause button, and then think about the answers. Lee's gone for A, B, C, and D. It's time to double check with the answers. Here they come. Indeed, all four are possible costs of inflation. On A, of course, the key is the relative inflation rate between one country and another, and also what happens to the exchange rate. People's savings can be eroded in real terms, particularly when interest rates are well below inflation. People's incomes can lose their real purchasing power, again, if wages fail to keep pace with inflation. And one of the big pervasive effects of inflation is that it creates more business and household uncertainty, makes it very difficult to plan for an economic future. I think all four legitimately are indeed costs of inflation. Fantastic work on the bubble quiz. Holly, over to you for an evaluation activity.
Fantastic, thank you very much. So we are kind of leading directly on for what we were just doing, talking again about inflation, but this time practicing our analysis and our evaluation skills. So really important for any kind of upcoming assessments. It's a crucial skill in economics, is to be able to evaluate, give the other side of your argument. So the first bit is our kind of analysis. So we're giving one group of people who may benefit from inflation. So type your answers in the chat. Who could benefit from high inflation? Do we think workers? Do we think consumers? What about producers? Does the government benefit from high inflation? So take a few seconds, pop something in the chat. Who do you think will benefit from inflation? So we've got a couple of answers coming in already. So we've got Charlotte and Robbie thinking about, is people in debt, maybe they benefit. Mine's come in, kind of people with mortgages as well, maybe could benefit from inflation. So we'll give it a few more seconds and then we will reveal what we think are some of the answers here. But some very, very good answers coming in. Yep, again, Rebecca, we've got high debt, producers, high prices, and I think we're going to call it there. And Jim, can we have our answers, please? So we've got producers, which I think was mentioned in the chat. So if prices rise faster than kind of costs, that could lead to higher profit margins for our producers. Great work, everyone who got that in the chat. And again, loads of people mentioned this. So debtors, so our real interest rates on loans are negative. And this means the real value of debt may actually fall, benefiting our debtors. So a quick reminder, our real interest rates are nominal interest rates. So the stuff set by kind of the Bank of England, and they're adjusted for inflation. So if we had a nominal interest rate of 5% and inflation of 3%, then our real interest rate would be 2%. Leah's come up with a great answer as well. So these are just two possible answers, but really, really good answers coming in the chat of our benefits from inflation. So now we move to the evaluation side of things. Who's going to lose out because of inflation? So you've got producers, debtors winning. What about consumers, workers? Are they going to lose out? Have a go. Why are these people going to lose out from inflation? So you've got creditors, workers, consumers from Rebecca coming in. Rebecca, why? Why are these people losing out from inflation? Can you come up with an explanation as well? And Minnie's come in with investors. They're suffering due to a little bit of uncertainty because of inflation. Rebecca's coming back, and sorry, a different Rebecca. We've got two Rebeccas today talking about consumers. We've got lower purchasing power, creditors, savers coming in as well from Duncan. Great work, everybody. Lots of superb answers coming in. So, Jim, can we reveal what we think are two kind of examples of people losing out from inflation? So we've got workers in low-paid jobs and low bargaining power. This means they're not going to be able to go to their employer and demand higher wages to kind of keep up with the cost of inflation. They may actually lose out. They may get lower real incomes after inflation. Particularly an interesting point there is maybe thinking about unions. What role could the unions play? Maybe thinking about supply side policies as well with this low bargaining power. And I think Duncan got this one, but we've got savers if their real returns on commercial bank deposits are negative. So they're actually losing money by saving it. So they'd really lose out because of inflation here. So some really good points, loads of great answers in the chat, and obviously some great answers from us here as well. And I think we're moving on to Geoff for our final activity of today's session.
Well, thanks, Holly. This session has flown by. This is my favourite end of session activity. And actually, I'd love it, perhaps, maybe if Jim and Holly want to even have a go against the people who are live with us today on Facebook and YouTube. So this question, or this little activity, relates to the items, the goods and services that are included in the measurement of inflation, the consumer price index. Every year, certain items are included for the first time, others are taken out. And the idea is that the basket tries to be representative of the spending patterns of households in the UK. So the question here, and there are five. If you get all five right, by the way, you are seriously good. Have these items been added or removed from the basket of goods used to calculate the consumer price index in 2021? Here's our first item that Jim has posted up for us: men's loungewear bottoms. Holly, what do you reckon? Included or added or removed? What do you think?
I think we're going to have to say added. You know, everyone's been at home. Why would you be in kind of sensible work trousers when you could be in loungewear bottoms? So I'm going to have to say added here.
But I thought everybody had to teach in things like fine suits and evening dress. I'm not sure where that's. Most people here say added. Rebecca, Kira, Phoebe, Leah have all gone for added.
I agree with Holly. Loungewear tops as well.
Are you wearing loungewear bottoms at the moment, Jim, or are you in formal attire?
Couldn't possibly comment.
No comment. That's what the answer is. And the answer was they were indeed added for the first time. So great news for companies like JD Sports. A lot of sports businesses, the sports shops and things, have been selling vast mountains of loungewear bottoms. Well, let's move on. Couscous.
Ooh.
This is a tough one.
That's a tough one.
Well, over to the panel. Over to Holly and Jim. I don't know the answer, by the way, to this question. So.
Oh, I'd have to say I don't know either. I guess added. I don't know. It could be added. It could be taken away. Like, is it been?
Stop hedging your bets, Holly. Come on.
Right. I'm going
to be inspired by the live chat students who are never wrong on these things. It's so old. It's so yesterday's couscous, isn't it? It's so Waitrose. It's so yesterday. I'll say removed. Couscous.
Okay, so Holly thinks that they've been removed. Nikki says added. Phoebe says removed. So what is the answer for this? What sort of? It is indeed added for the first time.
What do I know?
Yeah, millions of people sat having avocado toast and couscous whilst working from home in their loungewear bottoms.
Fair dues.
Number 3. Fruit smoothies. Well, let's ask a smoothie. Jim, what do you think the answer is to this question?
That's got to be removed, isn't it? That is definitely long gone. Fruit smoothies. You know, if it's couscous in, fruit smoothie must be out, surely.
What do you
But
think,
have
Holly?
people become healthier during lockdown? Maybe they've got more time to make a fruit smoothie. Could it be added, maybe?
Fruit smoothies aren't healthy, they're full of sugar.
Oh, but it's fruit. It's fruit sugar. It's all good. It's good sugar.
Who's got
You know,
time to make a fruit
behavioural
smoothie
economics,
when...
giving
anyway.
it the word smoothie gives it an appearance of health that it doesn't deserve. Phoebe's gone for removed, Leah's gone for removed, Mina's gone for added, and Robbie went for added. So we've got a difference of opinion on the team on the chat. Jim, it's time we had the answer, I think.
Ah,
Oh no!
lucky Holly.
Ruining my perfect streak.
Yeah, I stopped drinking fruit smoothies last year, and as a result, it's now been taken out of the consumer price index. Leah says during lockdown we drink milkshake, no smoothie. Great example. Number 4, staff restaurant sandwich.
Oh, Holly, you go first.
That's got to be removed. It
Yeah.
has to be.
Yeah.
We couldn't go and buy sandwiches.
Well, there's no one working in offices anymore, are they? Or not many people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, demand for canteen sandwiches must have fallen, surely.
Well, that's certainly the opinion of Kira, Leah, of Phoebe, of Nikki. There's a unanimity on this one. I hope we're right. Let's double check.
Well done.
Yep, staff sandwich was removed from the index. Now we've got one left. I think this could be the game changer, the clincher. Here it comes.
Ooh.
Coffee sachets.
Ooh, a tough one.
Does that include those little coffee pods as well? What do we think? Does that include? Is a sachet a pod?
I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is, like an espresso type stuff.
Come on, because
Okay.
now you've said that, I think they've been added now because because people would have pods at home.
Yeah. Lots of people would have had pods, bought themselves a pod for lockdown or got one for Christmas. Definitely. I think it's added.
Yeah, well, things like obviously there's been a surge in demand for these home chocolate makers and home hot chocolate and coffee makers, hasn't there? Leah says yes, include the coffee pod. Well, let's include the coffee pod. Were they included for the first time in the CPI?
Aha.
Answer is yes.
There we go.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, they've taken out jars of instant coffee from the CPI. Coffee pods and coffee sachets are now included, whereas obviously things like takeaway coffee is still included, although fewer people drinking those. Great stuff. Well, good knowledge there from the team, the live team on the CPI. Well done, everybody.
Great session. Fantastic stuff. Really enjoyed that. Can't believe it's coffee sachets. There we go. I suppose it is, isn't it? It's the Nespresso pods, isn't it? It's that, the environmentally unfriendly way of having a cup of coffee. He says controversially. Fantastic session. Well done. Well done for everyone who's joined us live. Lots and lots of students typing answers into the chat window. And good luck if you've got an assessment coming up. Hopefully that's been a useful sort of memory helper on inflation and unemployment. If you found the session useful, we never take this for granted, please give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, or a like, or a positive comment if you're watching on Facebook. And we are back tomorrow with a session on balance of payments. But don't forget, there's also 26 other sessions that you can have a quick look at. Maybe even download the PowerPoints, which you can do for free at tutor2.net/live, and just use the filter to pick A-level economics. And by the way, help yourself to all the other subjects in there, like business and psychology and law, politics, geography. Loads on there if you find those subjects, if you find a bit of help useful on those subjects. Anything I've missed, Holly, Geoff? What do you think?
Great answers, as always. We have a team of regulars who come on these live sessions, and they are fantastic economists. They really are.
Brilliant stuff. Right, really enjoyed it. So hopefully we'll catch you at our next live session. So from Holly and Geoff and I, thanks very much, and we'll see you later.
Take care. See you soon.
Bye. Good luck, everyone.